Good morning children and welcome back to your chemistry class. Today we shall start with a new chapter, that is biomolecules. The chemical substance like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, what are they? These are the food nutrients, right? And these nutrients, they are necessary in a balanced diet, which in turn it is needed to maintain a good health. Now carbohydrates and fats, what is their work? They provide necessary energy on combustion. This protein, it builds and maintains and repairs the body tissues. What is the work of vitamins? They catalyze the metabolic processes. So when the activities of all such chemicals, they are viewed under biological and physiological angles, then these chemicals, they are termed as biomolecules, right? So what is the role of these biomolecules in our body? These biomolecules which are present in our food, right? They are involved in two main processes in our body. First process, larger biomolecules, they break down and form smaller molecules, right? And what happens? They release energy. What is this process called as? This is called as catabolism, right? Then what is the second process? This is the first process. What is the second process? In the second process, the smaller molecules, the broken ones, they combine and they form larger molecules, right? Over here what happens? The energy is consumed in this process. Over here what happened? The energy is released in catabolism. And when smaller molecules or broken bigger molecules into smaller molecules, when they combine to form larger molecules, this process is called as what? Anabolism, right? And in anabolism what happens? The energy consumption takes place. The two processes together, what is this called as? This you must be very familiar with. It is called as the metabolism that takes place in our cells, right? So we begin with the carbohydrates. Now what are carbohydrates? We have to understand. So the chemical processes of saccharides, they show that these are composed of these carbonates. These are composed of what? They're composed of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen in definite proportion. Clear? So the general formula of carbohydrate is what? It is CxH2OY, right? Where your X and Y, these are the integers. Now, one thing should be very clear over here, that this is the general formula that I have written for carbohydrates, right? But every compound which has the formula, the molecular formula as this, is not to be considered as carbohydrate. For example, let me give you some example like HCOOH. Over here, what is the general formula? It is CH2O, isn't it? C1H2O1. But this is not your carbohydrate. What is this? This is your formic acid or methanoic acid. Similarly, if you talk about CH3COOH, what is the general formula over here? This becomes C2H2O whole twice. So again, X is your 2 and Y is your 2, but this is not your carbohydrate. I hope this is very clear to you. This is what? This is your carboxylic acid. Therefore, we must learn the correct definition of a carbohydrate. So how can we define carbohydrates? These are the polyhydroxyaldehydes or polyhydroxyketones, right? Or they are large polymeric molecules which on hydrolysis they give polyhydroxyaldehydes or polyhydroxyketones. I hope that's clear. So once again, what are carbohydrates? These are the organic compounds that include what? That include polyhydroxyaldehydes or polyhydroxy ketones, right? So these organic compounds on hydrolysis also produce polyhydroxyaldehydes or polyhydroxy ketones, or even they can produce both, and they are termed as what? Carbohydrates. Some of the examples could be like your glucose, fructose, right? Sucrose and so on. So do you know the formula of glucose and fructose? Yes, we have already done before. So let us know the formula of glucose is what? C6H12O6. That of fructose is also C6H12O6, and of sucrose is C12H22O11. Clear? Now we are going to understand the classification of carbohydrates. They are classified as saccharides or sugars and non-saccharides. So generally they are divided into, first let me rub this and then I'll explain. So now let us understand the classification of carbohydrates. So classification is mainly based on two types. First, we are going to study on the basis of their hydrolytic behavior, okay, and the second will be on the basis of their reducing behavior. Okay, so let us first understand the first part, that is on the basis of their hydrolytic behavior. Now, on the basis of hydrolytic behavior, they are classified as monosaccharides, okay, then B disaccharides, C polysaccharides. Okay, now let us understand. First and foremost, these saccharides, you should know they are crystalline solids and they are sweet in taste, right? For example, your glucose and sucrose. So let us talk about monosaccharides first. What do we know about them? They are the simplest carbohydrates. Those cannot be hydrolyzed into simpler carbohydrates, and they are termed as monosaccharides, right? They cannot be broken into smaller units on hydrolysis. So some of the examples are like your glucose, fructose, etc. Followed? Then let's talk about disaccharides. These will produce two monosaccharides on hydrolysis. Produce two monosaccharides on hydrolysis. Clear? For example, there could be your sucrose, there are maltose. Followed? Now, in some books, in old books, the carbohydrates which on hydrolysis, where they yield 2 to 10 monosaccharides, right? They were called as oligosaccharides, right? they were termed as oligosaccharides. Here, how many did they give out? They yielded 2 to 10 molecules of monosaccharides. Clear? They were further divided into, now if it is 2, then it was disaccharide. If it is 3, then trisaccharide, 4, tetrasaccharide, and so on, depending upon the number of monosaccharides produced on hydrolysis. Clear? But the most common of all the oligosaccharide is your disaccharide, and for example is your sucrose and maltose. Next we come to polysaccharides. They produce large number of monosaccharides on hydrolysis, that is more than even 10, right? Then more than 10 molecules, because 2 to 10 range where? In oligosaccharides. In oligosaccharide you have disaccharides, right? So more than 10 molecules of monosaccharides if produced on hydrolysis, what are they termed as? Polysaccharides. For example you can take over here like starch, or you may also take it as glycogen and so on, right? So on the basis of the hydrolytic behavior, we can divide them into 3. What are they? Monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. Monosaccharides, what are they? They cannot be broken down into simpler units of units on hydrolysis. Example, glucose and fructose. Now oligosaccharides, they produce to give 2 to 10 molecules of monosaccharides. But if they give 2, most common one is when they produce 2 monosaccharides on hydrolysis, which is also termed as disaccharides. And more than 10, it is called as polysaccharides. Example, starch and glycogen. Now let us talk about the second classification on the basis of the reducing behavior. Second one now, on the basis of reducing behavior, right? So all those carbohydrates which reduce Fehling solution, right, and Tollens reagent, they are termed as reducing sugars. So they can be divided, I can say we can divide it into 2, that is reducing sugars and non-reducing sugars, right? So all those sugars which reduce which 2 solutions, I said Fehling solution and Tollens solution, right? So all those carbohydrates which reduce Fehling solution and Tollens solution, right, they are termed as reducing sugars. And all monosaccharides, they come under this category. Or what are they? They are the good reducing sugars. The actual feature of reducing sugar is due to the presence of the alpha hydroxy aldehydic group, which is present in the glucose, or alpha hydroxy ketonic group, which is present in the fructose, right? Then there are certain carbohydrates which do not reduce Fehling solution and Tollens solution. They are termed as your non-reducing sugars. For example, you can take over here as sucrose. Here it is your sucrose, and here, as I told you, glucose or fructose. Okay. So here the reducing sugars are what? Which reduce Fehling solution and Tollens solution. And why do they reduce Fehling and Tollens solution? Because of the presence of alpha hydroxy aldehydic group and alpha hydroxy ketonic group. Okay, because of the presence of this. Then non-reducing, they do not reduce these 2 solutions. For example, we have sucrose over here. Now let us proceed with the monosaccharides. Let us begin with monosaccharides. So monosaccharides are the carbohydrates which cannot be hydrolyzed into simpler forms, right, by themselves. So they are represented by what formula? The general formula is CnH2nOn, or we can also write it as CH2ON. It can also be written like this. Thus, if your N is equal to 3, then the carbohydrate is your triose. Okay, that is C3H6O3. If your N is 5, then your formula will be what? It will be C5H10O5. Then what kind of a carbohydrate is this? This is called as pentose. Okay. Similarly, if N is equal to 6, it is going to be called as hexose, and the formula will be C6H12O6 and so on. Right. Now let us talk about glucose. Let us begin with glucose. So glucose is what? It is aldohexose. It is aldohexose. It is also termed as dextrose. So it is glucose is the monomer unit of polysaccharides such as starch and cellulose, right? And glucose, it is present where? It is present in your honey, it is present in your sweet fruits, your ripe grapes, they contain glucose and fructose. So how do we prepare this glucose? Firstly, we already know preparation of glucose by photosynthesis. This is one step we all know. What is in photosynthesis? Glucose is prepared by the green plants from carbon dioxide and water in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight, and this reaction is termed as your photosynthesis. So 6 parts of CO2 plus 6 parts of H2O. What did I say? In the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight, what do they produce? They produce glucose, that is C6H12O6 plus 6 oxygen gas is given out, right? So this is one way of preparing glucose. The second method of preparing glucose is by the hydrolysis of starch. So let's see this. When starch is boiled with dilute sulfuric acid, right, at 393 Kelvin under high pressure, then your glucose is formed. So what is the formula of starch? It is C6H10O5N. What is this? This is your formula of starch. What did I say? When it is boiled in the water, when it is boiled in water in the presence of your dilute sulfuric acid, with your dilute sulfuric acid at what temperature? 393 Kelvin, and I also said at high pressure. Pressure could be say 2 to 3 atmosphere. Then with all these conditions, we are going to obtain what? Glucose, that is N times of C6H12O6 can be obtained, right? And this is one of the commercial method to prepare glucose. Then there's another method of preparing glucose from cane sugar. From cane sugar. And what is cane sugar? It is called as sucrose. What is cane sugar called as? It is called as sucrose. So over here, when sucrose, it is boiled with dilute sulfuric acid or dilute HCl, right? Then it produces glucose, and also fructose is obtained, and they are equimolecular mixtures actually. So let's understand the reaction. So C12H22O11, what is this? This is your sucrose when it is boiled in water and treated with what? Dilute HCl or dilute H2SO4, right? It is going to form C6H12O6 plus C6H12O6. This is your glucose and this is your fructose. So equimolecular mixture of glucose and fructose is obtained. I hope the preparation of glucose is very clear to you. Now we shall move to some chemical reactions. So let us begin with the chemical properties of glucose. But before we begin with the chemical properties of glucose, let us first understand the structure of glucose. What is the structure of glucose? As we have already studied, C6H12O6. So what does it contain? This structure of glucose, it contains 6 carbon atoms which are linked in a chain. Okay. Let me first draw it for you and then I'll show you CH2OH. So what did I say? 6 carbon atoms, they are linked in the group 4, 5 and 6, right? Then 5 hydroxyl, one aldehyde group is present here, 5 hydroxyl groups are present over here, right? So now we are going to move ahead to understand the chemical properties of glucose. These chemical properties also establish the structure of this glucose. So let us understand this. So let me write it down over here. CHO, CHOH, 4 CH2OH. Okay, so let us begin with the chemical properties now. Now see here, I am going to write down all the chemical properties on one page. So firstly, the reaction of glucose with HI when it is heated with HI, right? For a longer time, this glucose is going to change into N-hexane, that is CH3, CH2, 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 CH3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So what is formed? N-hexane is formed when the glucose is heated with hydrogen iodide, right? Then when the glucose, it is reacted with hydroxylamine. Hydroxylamine is your NH2OH. What is this called as? Hydroxylamine, right? So what it is going to form? It is going to give you glucose oxime. So let's see what is glucose oxime. CH double bond NOH, CHOH, 4 CH2OH. What is the name of this? As I told you, it is glucose oxime is formed when glucose is treated with hydroxyamine, right? When glucose is treated with bromine water, then glucose is oxidized to gluconic acid, right? It is oxidized to gluconic acid, that is COH, CHOH4, CH2OH. What is this called as? Gluconic acid. Clear? This particular reaction also confirms the presence of aldehyde group in the glucose. Then next, let us come to acidic anhydride, CH3, COO. Okay, this is what? Acidic anhydride. Acidic anhydride, right? So what is it going to form? It is going to form glucose pentaacetate and acetic acid will be formed. So first let me write down acetic acid over here because the space is very crowded on this side. So this is your acetic acid plus, what did I tell you? Glucose pentaacetate will be formed. So let's see the formula of this. CHO, C double bond O, CH3, then CH2O, C double bond O, CH3. So this is your formula of glucose pentaacetate, right? Next, let's see what happens when glucose is treated with nitric acid, that is HNO3. So on reacting with HNO3, it is going to form saccharic acid, that is COOH, CHOH4, COOH. What is this? Saccharic acid will be formed when it is treated with nitric acid, which is a strong oxidizing agent. Last but not the least, let's see with phenylhydrazine, that is C6H5NHNH2. What is this called as? This is called as phenylhydrazine, right? And what is this going to form? It is going to form glucose phenylhydrazone. That is, the formula will be HC double bond NN HC6H5 CHOH4 CH2OH. What is the name of this? As I told you, it is glucose phenylhydrazone. Okay, so these were some of the chemical reactions of glucose which befits the formula of glucose as well. So only till here today. Thank you.